How much is 1 degree Celsius? It doesn't sound very daunting, does it? Just 1 degree? The small change of 1 degree Celsius can mean the difference between you asking for ice in your drink when you're sitting outside on the terrace, or when you're deciding whether to put on a sweater or not when stepping outside. On a global scale, though, the small change of 1 degree Celsius warmer creates storms, heat waves, floods, and droughts. Turning up the Earth's temperature by just 1 can create mass starvation in developing countries. It can lead to an unlivable situation for 1/3 of the world's population and vastly remap its inhabitants through mass migration. Think about that for a second. A seemingly small action can create the greatest change for all of us. Global warming affects us all, but it's not a choice any of us made. It's really the result of our ignorance and the actions taken by past generations before us. But in that very same sense, the actions that we take today shape tomorrow's world, and the world our kids will grow up in. And I say shaping the world, knowing how big and impossible that task may sound. Great change is often difficult to comprehend. How can you, one person, create a difference? The fashion industry, with pain in my heart, is an arch enemy of our planet. Not just in global warming, but in chemical waste, water waste, human rights violations, and the list goes on and on. And I should know, I'm in denim, a fabric notorious for wasting water like it's nothing. But that does not mean it's all unsalvageable. Let's take that principle. Take action in one facet of the production process to reshape an entire industry. It's possible. In fact, it's already happening. In denim, we've created innovations over the past few years in multiple production processes that have grown into entire sustainable platforms. Platforms that now stretch several production phases and create one solid sustainable cycle. What started off as the invention of a single sustainable indigo has grown into the reduction of water usage at each stage of our supply chain. We went to colorways that use no salt, finishes and washes that require no chemicals, and entire processes like drying becoming completely obsolete, all because of the way the yarn is dyed. Why is that? Because that one action puts a mindset behind it into motion. We needed to change. That was our vision. Turning that vision into repeated action creates a habit, and habits determine an incredibly large portion of our lives. By making small adjustments to them, we can change great things. Let's say you want to get better at something, and you improve by 1% every day. That wouldn't be very noticeable, right? In fact, it might not be noticeable at all. But in the long run, it can have a far greater impact than any one action could ever have. If you were to actually get better by 1% every day, you would be 37 times better within a year. Of course, that's not how it really works. But the point is, we often overestimate the importance of one defining moment and underestimate the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. The impact of those small actions can be negligible, and because they often have unnoticeable results, they can be demotivating. James Clear describes what he calls the valley of disappointment in his book Atomic Habits. When we set out to do something, we expect to make a linear progression. We gradually get better and better, and we see ourselves go up. The reality, though, is much more curved. It can be very frustrating how ineffective your actions may seem in the first few days, weeks, or even months. It may feel like you're not progressing because you're not seeing that change. which makes it feel like hard work is going to waste. Now that feeling is the #1 killer for progress. You may not notice their immediate impact, but your actions over time will reach a breakthrough point, a point where you start noticing change. Take a look at bamboo, for instance. Now, bamboo is a plant that can barely be seen for the first 5 years because it's extremely busy. It's building an extensive root system underground, laying a strong foundation, and that takes time, years. And then, all of a sudden, it explodes into the air, the stalks reaching 20 meters in height with ease. We often convince ourselves that great success requires great action, whether it's losing weight, building a business, or becoming fully sustainable. We put pressure on ourselves to create some sort of earth-shattering improvement that everyone will talk about. Let's stop that. Instead, let's focus on the work behind those improvements. The small, marginal actions we can take to do great things. Fashion definitely is not there yet, but the gears are in motion, and a lot of the work has already been done. Brands, multiple brands in fact, are looking at this new way of working and adapting it, designing collections that are far more sustainable than they were 20 years ago. And in manufacturing, applying the existing sustainable technology already creates the change we need. Manufacturing and production alone is not the answer, however. It's working together within all aspects of the fashion industry. Buyers, suppliers, and consumers, they all need to be aligned on one single mission of sustainability. It's up to us as a collective to use our vision and our creativity to not just manufacture, but to want, design, and invest in fashion that not only aligns with our taste, but also helps our planet and every living thing on it. And we can start small within our own fields. What can I do? What actions can I take that will create that greater change? What is my 1% improvement? Well, to find that, action requires both thought and reason, our personal why. And action is only as strong as the idea behind it, right? Well, what we see is the ultimate invention or the revolutionized process. But like I just said, it's not about those things. It's about the idea they're based on that gives those small actions the power to change the status quo over time. We need a reason to believe in what we're doing, to turn it into sustainable actions. We need it not only to keep convincing ourselves, but just as important, convincing others, the people we work with, the people we work for, and in the end, the consumer. The complete trust and belief in an idea gives us the conviction to convince others. I love the film Inception, and although it's about a group of individuals who plan a heist in someone's mind, it makes a really good point. An idea is like a virus. It's resilient, highly contagious, and even the smallest form of an idea can grow. It can grow to define you or destroy you. Now, I believe that to be true. When you truly believe in something, you give that idea the power to shape you. I'm a part of the denim industry, and I'm defined by an idea. I make sure everything I do stems from the belief, the conviction to create a better planet. Not for myself, but for my kids. I want to teach them the importance of taking care of others, of doing good, of being more than just egotistical. I want them to grow up in a world that's not worse than the world I grew up in. That is the thought behind everything I do. They are my conviction, my conscience, the reason I am committed to a completely sustainable vision. So I've got a strong motive, my conscience, and that conscience drives change. It helps that runner get up every morning to do his run because he knows he's on the right track. It helps people get excited about their work, and it helps you get back up when you fall down. Everyone has it, and everyone should use it. We inherit our conscience through values and beliefs from our environment and culture. But these inherited beliefs don't always serve us. If you ask yourself, what do I want? Money, knowledge, and power quickly jump to mind, because that's the society we grew up in. One where we like to measure and compare everything. It's a lot easier to compare the size of our wallets than it is to compare who's living a more fulfilling life or who's happier. The quality of the questions we ask determines the quality of our lives. So instead of asking yourself, what do I want? Ask yourself, what is the right thing to do? And who do I want to do right by? This links a lot to finding your purpose, the real understanding of what you're meant to be doing and why, which in itself is a lifelong journey. And we can't really cover that 15 minutes here. But starting out in Denim, I didn't fully commit to the vision that I have now, not until I had kids. And that's when it all clicked. And my conscience changed from doing right by me to doing right by them. Take that conscience and put it into action. We can all be sustainable if we find our reason, because you'll notice there's like-minded people all around you, ready to help, all of whom are working on something with the greater good to save our planet. At Denim Privé, the company that I founded, we've already taken crucial steps in sustainability all throughout the supply chain. Most of those would not have been possible without our partners and our clients. We've created new fabrics and new ways to produce, all because we made them an integral part of the process. A few years ago, we wanted to work to help solve the problem of air pollution. We collaborated with our research partners in Bologna to produce Catalytic denim, which contains nanocomposites that can efficiently eliminate pollutants from the air by using natural sunlight. Now that may sound difficult and complex, but it just comes down to a fabric that uses the sun to clean the air. Now we started this project a few years ago, and now the invisible is a real fabric that can be used to create literally anything. So the idea we had of solving a certain problem led to the creation of one fabric that has now opened up a world of possibilities. We're actually in the middle of creating an online gallery that showcases prototypes of products made from the invisible that were co-created with designers throughout the industry. We're calling it Collection Unthinkable. We're doing this to show that one action can have an infinite amount of applications, and it can even start a revolution. We are a supplier, so our actions turn into very physically visible change. A new machine, a new product, a better facility. In other facets of our industry, the same principle guides. Brands choosing to work with better suppliers, designers incorporating sustainability not just in a single project, but switching to a fully sustainable vision, and consumers choosing to buy environmentally better clothing. It's up to us now, all of us in the fashion industry. I know change can seem like an impossibly big and incomprehensible thing, but small steps are the way to go. It's our conscience that turns ideas into actions and actions into change. So let that conscience drive you. I hope you leave this talk thinking about all the little steps you can take when you walk out of here. It can be as simple as taking your bicycle instead of the car tomorrow. Because remember, it's the smallest of actions that can create